How did that happen? You won the first prize or something? No. I'm trying to embellish a story. Come on.
You're full of it.
Such a loose.
Hey, I won. He's just jealous I won.
Yeah, she won a hat. And that was like mold.
I'm gonna go catch on the flip side.
This one. It's about the anchovy. Where's mine?
Oh, can you watch this?
It's all live.
It's all live.
No.
All the time. All the time.
From 217.
I know at least for the 2020 the fall announcement day that we started up, so the collective. Eventually, yeah, she's like super better.
Good.
That one's going to be really tough to.
If you stick around the last presentation of Dr. Sunday, he's going to talk about the data conservation project, for the Hudson River survey, and like the waste. Yeah, keep going.
Catchability. Which would then define how effective your gear is. If your gear is not effective, there it is. Because catchability is CTV, and then how do you monitor population? So how do you program catchability? I believe it's fairly easy.
Our summer program
So, you calibrate the catchability.
Yeah, I'm about to
What's that? Catchability is that incorporated into your CPE.
yeah, we just never freeze.
Oh,
Yeah, that's why when you design a survey, you get like key target species, and so that was like designing.
Okay, it's time to get started again. Our next speaker is going to be Stephanie Arsenault again, but this time everybody's favorite bay anchovy.
Okay, so for those who have been in this room, I'm Stephanie Arsenault. For those who are new, I'm a PhD student in the Chen Lab at Stony Brook, and today I'll be talking about the spatial temporal dynamics of suitable spawning habitat for bay anchovy in the Hudson River. So a little bit about the Hudson River Estuary, if you're not familiar. It's a partially mixed tidal estuary that stretches 246 kilometers from New York City to Albany. It's home to more than 200 different fish species and provides critical spawning and nursery habitat. And like this session has been talked about already, it has this great long-term monitoring program. So of course, like many other aquatic ecosystems, the Hudson River has been subject to climate change. So water temperatures in the estuary have risen since the 1930s with a 0.3 degree Celsius increase since 1987. And estuarine temperatures are projected to keep rising under various climate change scenarios. In addition to temperature, we have sea level rise in the estuary. Sea level rise has caused the mouth of the estuary to rise by 74 millimeters since 1987. This has been linked to increases in estuarine salinity, and of course, sea level is going to continue. So a little bit about the Hudson River Biological Monitoring Program. I won't go into a ton of detail because a lot of other talks have covered it already. But it's a monitoring program of the Hudson River from Battery Park in New York City up to Albany. It began in response to power plants being built along the Hudson River and evaluating the potential negative side effects. It provides data on the abundance, stage structure, and spatiotemporal distribution of finfish species, and it does so through three main components: the Long River, the Beach Seine, and the Fall Juvenile Survey. And I'll be focusing on data from the Long River Survey. It also includes water quality data from the Water Quality Survey, and a couple other supplemental survey programs. And this figure is from Chang et al. In 2023. It's a map of the Hudson River Estuary divided into the 13 different regions that are sampled by the HRBMP. So going into bay anchovy, they're a small coastal species found along the Atlantic coast. They only get to be about 10 centimeters. They're very cute. This figure is not to scale, obviously. They're commonly the most abundant ichthyoplankton in mid-Atlantic bight estuaries. The Hudson River Estuary serves at the northernmost extent of the species range, so they go all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico, up to the Hudson River Estuary. They're a significant part of the Hudson River Estuary community. They're forage fish, they're at the base of the food chain, and are a critical prey item for commercially important species such as striped bass. And they feed mostly on zooplankton. They are a very short-lived species. They can live 2-3 years, but it's typically only around 2, so very short lifespan. So a little bit about their spawning behaviors in the estuary. So adults enter the lower estuary in late May, and spawning starts in June and continues through August. They're pelagic serial spawners. They spawn in the main channel of the estuary. They spawn at night, and they are spawning in the Battery and Yonkers regions with salinity greater than 10 PSU, so the lower southernmost regions of the estuary with the more marine conditions. And spawning is temperature dependent and peaks between 26 and 28 degrees Celsius, which you would expect in the summer. So going into the suitable spawning habitat, this has not been quantified for bay anchovy. I feel like as a species, they've been a little overlooked. And of course, dynamic environmental variables are gonna impact the distribution and abundance of bay anchovy eggs and dictate where adults are spawning. And of course, what are the potential impacts of climate change? So the two objectives of the study are to identify the key environmental variables influencing bay anchovy suitable spawning habitat use and distribution within the Hudson River Estuary, and develop habitat suitability index models to find now and forecast changes in the suitable habitat and distribution within the estuary. So the data that I'm using is two components of the HRBMP, the Long River Survey and the Water Quality Survey. The LRS began in 1974 and continued through 2017, sampling mid-March through mid-October. Sampling was conducted during the day and at night using an empty benthic sled and a tucker trawl. And this survey specifically was designed to monitor early life stages of fish species, so the perfect survey to look at egg abundance. And the environmental data comes from the Water Quality Survey, which began in 1974 and continued through 2018. Weekly sampling, May through November, excuse the typo, and it looked at temperature, conductivity, and dissolved oxygen. And there was an important methodology change in 1982. They switched from sampling concurrently with the finfish surveys, and then switched to sampling at 65 fixed stations spaced approximately every